she's pretty well accustomed at this point to like what deer season looks like. And of course, I push the boundaries a little bit every year.
No.
Yeah, me. Can you believe that? I know.
There's no way.
I know. HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Deer Grow.
Man, hard to believe, but Deer Grow has been the sponsor that's been there since the beginning of the HUNTR Podcast. Back in 2021, I think that they were the only partner that we had, but it's such a cornerstone brand and set of products for our food plot strategy throughout the year.
No doubt. And it seems like we used to have an off season, but not so much anymore. It's like when the hunting season ends, it really rolls right into food plot season, habitat projects, all of the above. And the Plot Start and Plot Boost have been there since the very beginning. That's a cornerstone for all of our plots. The Plot Start goes on at the beginning, Plot Boost goes on midway through. And since they came out with all of the fertilizers, that gets mixed in with the Plot Boost application as well. And I can't believe the results that we've been getting out of that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, it's all the work now that really produces the results in the fall. So right now, anyone listening to the HUNTR Podcast can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for 15% off any of the products at deergrow.com.
Better food plots, bigger deer.
And we're back.
Ew.
HUNTR Podcast, episode 292. So we keep each other in line. I think we're recording. We should be. Nick, recording.
292.
292. Just a couple few
just
weeks
couple
away.
Dudes. Just couple dudes.
Just a couple dudes just talking.
On December 4th, just hanging out.
Just hanging out, you know.
Just a couple dudes.
Just a bunch of wintry conditions outside and just hanging out at the table talking.
Space Heater's almost burning me out. I'm going to have to back us off here a little bit.
Toasting your ass.
Yeah, she does you for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, before we get going, I'll thank everybody for being here, whether you're listening on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcast. Those are the three main platforms that we drop these episodes on. And we do that every Tuesday and Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And if you've written us on Instagram DM or the website, those are the two that we check the most frequently. I think I've gotten a habit here a little bit of just like flagging emails and not so much responding.
Interesting. I don't pay attention to the emails. That's your category.
Yeah. So they're there, and responses coming
soon.
We do have some merch on the website. A bunch of you guys have bought that stuff here recently. Magic for Christmas gifts and stuff like that. So that's cool to see. Appreciate that.
Or for themselves, selfishly.
Or for yourselves. We're always working on new stuff. I'm sure in 2026 we'll work on a new line there for you guys. And in the meantime, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for any of our partners' websites for a discount in some way, shape, or form. There's some really good ones out there. And it might be just in a nick of time for some of those Christmas gifts as well.
Predator, Lone Wolf, yeah. Hoyt Apparel.
Yeah,
a lot of good ones out there. Anything on the rack hub side. Obviously, we're coming out of the season.
Coming up. Yep.
Yeah, so hanging skull mounts or whatever.
Dude, those things are awesome. I really, really like those. I have quite a few in my office, the RH1 and some of the RH2. If you have it's actually crazy. I was thinking back to this past season, like as diligently as you and I keep up with certain deer and try to build history, and we do. I mean, I wouldn't call us diehard shed hunters, but we shed hunt our farms every year.
Yeah, we don't find many.
Well, we do. We find enough. I find a lot. We found a fair amount in Illinois too. Kamikaze is the first deer that I've shot that I have a shed antler off.
I have a shed off of.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's wild.
Over, whatever it's been there, at least 5 years that we've been really, having some success on these mature deer and stuff. And we've been managing the same properties in the meantime. That's the first one that I've, that I killed. Yep. That not only did I pass the year before, that's also a first, I think, that we have a shed antler off of. That's pretty cool.
I don't know if I've ever killed one that I found a shed off of.
It's kind of cool. I was holding them last night. I'm like, here they are.
There they are.
Year to year. I roll the tines up against each other. I'm like, what do you do here, And
yeah, I don't think I've ever. I mean, maybe I have. I don't recall finding a shed of one and then killing them later. There's one that in Kentucky that I was hoping that Harlan would kill. He's like a 4-year-old 8-point this year, but he's kind of been MIA here recently, so I don't know if EHD got him or if he's just off property. But he found his shed as a 1-year-old and 2-year-old we didn't find the shed last year as a 3-year-old.
Mm.
But it was kind of cool that he found both of those. I actually found them in the same shed hunt. He found the 1-year-old shed and then found the 2-year-old shed.
Mm.
We just had missed it.
I've got some teed up. I mean, if we kill Flyer,
Mm-hmm.
I've got, well, really just one. I've got one of his 3-year-old sheds.
Mm-hmm. Nothing from last year.
Nothing from last year,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. And we still might find him. I don't know.
I know. Well, because did you find GR8s a year later?
Mm-hmm. I have one off of him last year and one off of him the year before.
But did you find both of those last year?
Yep.
Yeah. So it was one like
Found them both
you
last
missed.
year on the same walk.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. And it's crazy. They're like identical. He didn't change hardly at all from 4 to 5.
I wish we would have found one from that 11 you killed, because we looked hard for that.
Yeah, I think he left the property before then.
Either that or we
Last
never
year.
shed hunted that little pocket he was in.
Yeah, that'd be something, wouldn't it, to go in and find him?
We shed hunted the shit out of the block, but we didn't really.
We didn't. You're right. Oh, dude, we'll have to go in there.
Probably like
It's so small.
the first just laying there.
How cool would that be?
Could be.
That'd be
Very possible,
that'd be,
man.
That'd be epic.
Very possible they're just laying in there, because we definitely didn't. We hunted, Corn Cove and around it, but not right there.
We've honestly never, since we've owned the farm, really walked that.
We did the first year when we tried to like overseed brassicas into like 4 foot tall CRP.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Worked a little bit.
It actually probably was our best food plot on the farm that year.
Yeah, yeah.
But then we just let it go after that.
Yeah, yeah. Even with the brassicas there, I remember, because that was the year I remember bumping deer out of that little corner. There, I could walk. We could both probably walk to the spot where that bed is at. You can just see it. It's just right there. It's just that little triangle.
Just comes down.
We've busted enough deer out of there. It's funny how long it's taken us to like piece that together to be like, oh yeah, they are laying. I know we've seen them run out of there multiple times, but and we've circled it and circled it. I still do wonder if some sort of an east set on the creek there.
Probably.
If we, if you could pull something like that off to hunt that.
Like for an east wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think any weak wind in that creek should pull behind you, even towards the road.
Yeah.
In theory. Or rise, and not an issue then in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of already looking forward to like next year with the crop rotation, like with the beans and like what that means for us. And it's like, I love that part of it. Like, like the coordinating around everything, meaning it's like, all right, we have stuff enrolled in CRP. There's ongoing projects there. We have, the farmers are going to rotate from year to year. There's a new farm thrown into the mix, which is a big part of it. So what's that leave on the table for us? We've got new drills coming next year from Genesis, which is super exciting. So it's like, all right, what can we do with that? Do we, is corn on the table for us now? Do we want to try to drill some corn of our own this year, which would be, I think, a first for us.
I drilled them. I've been drilling in Kentucky.
You've been drilling it
for the last 2 years, and I'll show you pictures. Like, it is crazy. Like, I mowed some of those areas over Thanksgiving, and it was like you look back and you're like,
a lot of corn,
unreal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the whole thing.
Big ears. Like, happy with the.
Oh yeah, dude. It's just like freaking glowing there, and that's what's kind of weird is like I'm looking at it and I'm like, why are the deer just like not eating this?
Was that Higgins stuff, or what's the brand of corn that you use?
No. So I did Eagle Seed last year, the Roundup Ready.
Okay. Yeah,
I did a 3-acre bag of Eagle Seed, and then look at, you can see it just glowing.
Yeah. Yep. That's what you want.
Yep. So I did Eagle Seed last year. Cool. I did 2 years ago. No. It would have been 3 years ago. I did the Hybrid 85, which is like a online seed company, and it grew really well. In fact, it was way like taller and maybe even bigger ears than this corn. The problem is it wasn't Roundup ready. And so I ended up like I was really deep in like the atrazine and all this other stuff to try to control all the weeds in it.
That's the stuff I use too, right?
After the fact, I think so.
I think I tried that 2 years ago also, but I just broadcast mine because I ran out of time.
Yeah,
ran out of time.
I mean, it looked great, and in hindsight, I should have mowed corn, and I never did. I just left it. I'm like standing corn, right? That's what you want, and those deer just didn't use it like
that's crazy
at all. In fact, come whatever, March or April, I was in there mowing it, and it was like,
how bizarre. Like, they must know that it's in there. Like,
I mean, I see them use it. Like, I see the, stalks going when they're on it.
Yeah.
But just when it's mowed onto the ground, like, they just use it more. I don't know why.
I wonder if it has something to do with like the husk on it. Like,
maybe. Yeah, and the visibility.
Can't expose it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe just more work, or like, the husk are rough. Like, I don't know if it's like gets in there and like cuts their, face or gums or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it, I think if they want it, and again, it's a deer density thing, right? If you got super high deer density, they'll flock to the food. They'll find it. They'll use it. But I still have probably maybe an acre and a half or so of standing corn that I'll mow either when we're down there for muzzleloader or like around Christmas, just as like a final pull in and draw. And then I have 8 acres of standing beans. It's crazy.
It's funny how many different scenarios you can create with corn. Like when you start to mow corn, it's like it's like a Jenga thing, or it's like a maze. It's like how do you plan it perfectly in a way that as you chip away at it, every time you chip, it creates a new hunting opportunity. You move the blind, you move the blind, you move the blind. Yeah, it's really hard to plan for that far in advance.
Well, and I mean, that's where we're kind of at now in the season, right? It's this late season aspect of things. We're trailing out of gun seasons at this point by the time this airs, and so it's really a food mindset at this point. The deer bed food, primarily, evening hunts at this point, or afternoon hunts, however you want to look at it. And so, yeah, I mean, like I've got like most of my stuff is permanent blinds, from a blind standpoint at least. So I don't have the ability from like mow and move like we've talked about in Illinois, but I probably will here soon, whether I put a blind that I already have existing on a trailer and move it, or I buy a new blind and put it on a trailer that I have there to move it. But I also, where I have my blinds, like I've got one section I mowed this past weekend is like, it's 40 yards from the blind. So, I mean, anything that's in that range, I'm killing. The other side of it is still all standing corn. So essentially I can flip the script and mow that side of it, whatever, Christmas time, and I have 40 yards plus of corn on that end now too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I've got the flexibility. It's just how those deer are approaching into that stuff, how your access is clean, getting in and out. And
it's just hard, like, because the like your stand location, like where it actually is such a big deal. Like we design so much around it. Like everything else, every other food source, every other, management practice is basically to funnel them into like a 30-yard wide, box. But when it comes to mowing corn, it's like it's what's the word? It's fluid. It's okay, how do I plan this for 3 or 4 different locations over the course of like the season?
Yeah, with week or 2 week depending on what your weather is or when you're getting out there to hunt. Like
exactly, it's fun. It's a fun like component to it. It really.
I don't want to mow it all too soon to where like come the end of the season when it's the coldest and they are the most predictable of bed food, you're out. You're out of the game.
Right.
So it's like, you got to hold some of it back to make sure that you're able to pull that trigger as you go through. So
what do you think about pinch a pinch next year? Like, I know your thoughts on beans, and I would share that, dude. It's odd to
really
me
weird
that they don't use it. Yeah, the way that
I'm not really sure.
I wonder if you planted that to corn, and then mow it there in front of the blind.
Yeah, I think that would be a good option. I don't
think they'll touch it. I think we can feel secure in that. Like,
no, they won't touch it.
It'll grow.
I'm also, continually leaning back to just clover and rye as just a good staple all year. Like, right now it's a little bit tough, but even I was looking at a few people posting here in the last week with the snow and cold, and like they're sitting on bean fields, but they have adjacent clover fields, and all the deer are in the clover field digging and pawing and getting clover.
Interesting.
Not in the beans. And again, this is no knock to beans. Like somebody's going to say, well, dude, I was on a bean field last night and saw 50 deer. Probably. Like, absolutely. I just, from my experience here in the last several years between Kentucky and Illinois especially, we've had insanely successful bean plantings, but I would say they were very unsuccessful from a hunting opportunity side.
I just think they're like a January
maybe
attractant.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, because obviously at some point you take the eye off the ball, whether that's, season ends January 15th and you just don't pay attention as much. Like, I look at a lot of my places. I know last year, and again, it's low deer density too, but in Kentucky, I went to plant beans in June, and I had several fields of beans that were already 10, 12 inches tall from, volunteer beans coming up just from shattering how many pods were left over.
Wow.
I mean, it looked like a very thin planting of beans in all of these fields. And so I'm sure the deer are eating there, and it's a great source of protein, as you get into January, February, March especially. But from a hunting situation versus a nutrition situation, it's like, could you back it down, to say, hey, this is there purely for that January, February, March nutrition time frame to support them. And then from a strategic of attraction and hunting, I think you probably could plant something better. And that it's such a weird thing because, man, I couldn't tell you the first time I got to plant beans in Kentucky, and when they started growing and July, you look out and there's 3 acres here, 4 acres here of lush beans. I was like, it's a deer mecca. It's just insane. And for that summer into especially the opening weekend or so of Kentucky, there were a ton of deer crushing green beans. But that farm goes almost dormant from October 1st to now, and it's, I don't know if that's directly related to what's there from an attraction standpoint. On the reverse side of things, and I would say I haven't planted as many of them as I probably should, is some of my rye plots are just loaded with deer. Just hammered from in October, November into early December, just piled in there with deer. So
just straight rye.
Yep, or maybe some annual clover or something in there.
Yeah.
So
mine too. I'm seeing that also.
So I'm just trying to think of from a strategic standpoint, if and this is on the design aspect of things, but it's from a hunting situation, is if I'm sitting there staring at a 4-acre field, right? In theory, I'm I want a big grain field, but now I'm do I break that down? Do I have an acre of grain on either side, knowing it's not going to get crushed, right? Because that's the biggest fear is you don't want to plant a 1-acre bean field and it just gets destroyed. We've seen in Illinois that doesn't happen. We can plant a 1-acre bean field. It doesn't get eaten down to the ground. So do you plant that 1-acre bean field and then you plant an acre of clover and rye and then you do 2 acres of corn that you can mow to it? I guess what I'm saying is, do you take that field of monoculture and do you now diversify it for, frankly, different seasons? Clover and rye could be October into November, corn could be November, December, and then beans are basically there just to support them as it's green and then almost after the season. I don't know.
It's obviously really hard to try. I think Sturgis has always advocated for a feeding area that has everything, from a.
So is Tony LaPratte. Tony LaPratte is a guy that breaks down a 5-acre field and does 10 things to it. Now, I don't know if I'm in favor of that, but the more I look at what I'm seeing, the more I'm boy, maybe I just need to diversify the hell out of this thing.
Well, it makes sense, in terms of from a predictability of movement, so they don't have to change, a movement pattern to get a different food source. It's just that's where they go to feed, and anything that they would want is in those locations. It does seem on the grain side, a mowed corn is peak attraction, and on a green side, it's it seems you can't really go wrong with a clover rye mix.
Agree.
The two that are left out there seems to be brassicas and soybeans. But those things I do think definitely have a valuable place in sustaining a deer herd, especially in harsh weather conditions,
especially in high deer density
areas, and or between maintenance, especially on the corn side of things. If you don't get to mow, they may leave that standing corn and go to one of those other things. But you don't want to be okay, well, over here I'll do these standing beans here and stuff. But in a lot of cases, you kind of have to. I mean, especially if you're working with a farmer to do stuff. So I mean, it's ever evolving for us. And the Illinois farm is a great example, just because we have the ability to mess with and play with all that stuff. So next year, the farmer's going to do beans,
Mm-hmm.
at least on the main farm.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll work out the same deal where they leave, 2 acres of standing beans there, I think.
Yep.
And that'll be the first time. That'll be the first time.
Yep.
Not that we have standing beans, because we have standing beans right now.
But we planted
that we planted.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, I don't know. Is it location based why we're not seeing the movement, or is it because they're beans?
I mean, we also, to the point I think we talked about in the Hunt Companion, we haven't, we don't have like a camera directly on this big bean field, like almost like a plot watcher type of thing.
Yeah.
Because it very well, like we take a plot watcher picture at 5:15 in the evening. And
there could be
30
15 deer in it.
Yeah, we don't know. It just doesn't seem like they're funneling to that.
We're gonna just text Jackie and be like, "Hey, you guys seen anything in the afternoon, evening?"
Yeah, he's probably like, "There's 30 deer in the field."
He's
Right
like, "Yeah, I
now.
shot 2 of them." Wait, he's like, "What do you think we've been eating, dude?"
He's like, "Do you see this wide 4-year-old?"
We got a guy there working on the
so yeah,
renovating the house,
and there is differences too. Like on my Ohio place prior to this year, so I don't know with the HD and everything, but I planted a 2-acre field of beans that was just absolutely annihilated.
Mm-hmm.
Like didn't have a freaking chance in hell of surviving. And that's because of the fact that it's like the only bean field within several miles, and it's in the middle of big timber. So like, the deer pressure on that type of a field. Now, could I grow corn there? Like, would they leave the corn alone? I don't know. Maybe. Or my thought process is like, as much as I want a destination grain source, it's like, if I establish that in all, to your point, brassicas, which I can get to grow as long as we don't hit a drought, then I have this 2-acre giant brassica field that has a lot of biomass that for sure can sustain browsing and nutrition. Is that the way to go in a situation like that? It's so area to area or property to property, because I would say like even our brassica plots in Illinois don't get hit that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
Like they look great, but I wouldn't expect 30 deer to funnel out into them, or 10 deer even to funnel out in them.
I'd love to have a week to just set on them and just watch.
At some point they will. Like they the other day when that snow started to come through in Illinois, like I looked and there was, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 deer in that 1-acre bean plot down at the Pinch.
Yeah. Like
they were in there.
Yep.
So it's not like they're not eating them. It just, the question I think becomes, to a Sturgis mindset or a lot of guys' mindset is like, if we're going to influence the deer when it matters, which is during the season, what do you plant? And, the first question you have to answer is like, what can you plant? Meaning like, if you don't have the equipment to put beans or corn in, like you're not planting beans or corn.
Right.
Or if you're in my situation in Ohio and it's like you've got a 2-acre plot in the middle of timber, you're not going to put 2 acres of beans in there unless you fence it, because it ain't going to make it.
I mean, I think anybody can plant beans. The only one that I think presents a challenge for people is corn. Because you can broadcast beans, you can broadcast
I've
everything
broadcast
else.
Beans before and it's been fine.
In a lot of cases you want to agitate the soil and, have some kind of chemical control, to do that. But
critical.
Yeah, you really need a drill, a grain or no-till for corn.
For corn, yeah. So, I think that it still comes down to, your hunting style. If you're listening to this, you're probably hunting during bow season. And again, I really favor clovers and rye during those seasons.
Clover's where it's at, man. Clover's.
It's still under, it used to be the go-to. It's underrated still.
To me in that scenario, clover's that's the attraction, and rye is like the filler.
Yeah, because the rye, it's funny because I was talking about this with Harlan Monday when we were sitting in the food plot. He was like, the food plot's not growing much. I was like, it's been 30 degrees, right? I said, the cool thing about this being rye is that if we get a streak of a couple 50, 60 degree days, that stuff's going to shoot up. It's going to start growing again. Whereas a lot of your stuff, when you get into that cold temperature standpoint, like it goes dormant, it doesn't come back, right? Like think about a brassica. Like when a brassica gets crushed with frost and stuff like that thing's not growing again. Like it's slowed to nothing at that point. Same with clover. Like most of your clover is going to need sustained warmer temperatures to start coming out of that dormancy of putting all that energy into the roots and stuff and the nutrients into the roots, which is why a lot of times, like I think was it last year that they were just digging north up like crazy in the winter? It's because they were accessing the roots, which are extremely dense, of that clover, and that's where all the nutrients are piled into.
I haven't seen it yet this year. Right?
No. Haven't done it.
And I guess like the clover is maybe a little weaker, but like the roots are there. Like it's in there. It just has some grass competition.
Just haven't done it. Haven't done it yet. And
is it a yet thing? I mean,
I think it's a yet thing. I think if you look back, it was like
where are some of those bucks? I mean,
late December into January.
I guess I killed 2 of them, right? So there's one or two, 4 or 5, that we'd expect to see there. One of them being that heavier 8-point. Like, where's that freaking deer at?
Showed up one time on the 80, and that was it, right?
If that was him, yeah.
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 Yeah. Are you talking about like the giant 8-point? No, the heavier one. Yeah.
Just this one.
Yeah. I think that was the deer that we saw on the 80.
Yeah, I think it could have been 2.
One time.
Yeah, it's really interesting how those deer will move. That 9 is particularly perplexing to me. Mm-hmm. Like he's been there religiously for it was 2 full years.
Yep. And
now in the 3rd year, he was there, plenty of daylight, like through October, and then like November 1st, like just moved off and
gone.
I think he went west.
Maybe. Yeah, and we had another big one show up on the 80 that we haven't seen before. What, a week ago?
I think that deer lives to the west.
I think he does too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that dude, I tell you what, that's a fun, like maybe not a conversation for today, but like that's what deer hunting is to me. Like strategizing on big deer like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's the little things that you pick up on over years to be like, I think that deer is like spending more time over there, or I think he's this, or when this happens, they kind of come and do this. And it's the overlap of enough of those observations, like as small as they may be, that gets them killed.
Yeah, and I think you get that in farm country because you're able to make the observes.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's just so much changes in some of those properties that it's hard to, like mass crops, timber cuts, like, there's just so much that can happen that completely throws, some of those up in loop. Like there's plenty of deer where I'm just like, every year I'm like, that deer's going to show up and he's going to be big. And then and I know I have pictures of him shed out. Like there he is. He survived the season. Never shows up again. Never see him again. And it's like, first of all, deer die a lot, and not just at hunters' hands, whether it's vehicles or poachers or natural causes or whatever. Like they're fragile. They're a fragile creature. They die.
Yeah,
that's probably where what mostly happens. But
that is that buck now that I'm looking. That's probably him. Yeah.
But there's still plenty of time where it's like that deer should be alive. Like there's deer right now that I had on that new Kentucky farm, that 8-point I was talking about earlier, that I wanted Harlan to find. I'm like, man, that deer was a homebody. He was there all the time. I look back. He did disappear for a while, and he showed back up in December. So there's still a chance that he maybe went off and he comes back. But it's also like, I don't know. Like somebody could have shot him, or he could have died from EHD. Like there's just all of the unknowns that it's really the difference between like, sometimes I envy the people that are, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but are just naive of what's out there. Yeah. And like when they hunt.
Yeah.
Because for most people, whether you're hunting private or public, whether it's a lease or you own it, like you get married to some of these deer, especially at this time of year where you're like, man, I'd love to see that deer next year.
Or just invest. You're invested.
Yeah, you're invested in it. And then next year comes and he's not there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it almost eats you up. Not because you could do anything about it, but it's the fact of not knowing.
Yeah.
And that's where we talked about Madison doing these drone surveys and stuff. I'm like, there's a cool aspect there of knowing, and like, but there's still a small amount of like frustration to where I'm like, we flew in Ohio and there were 2 deer that I'm like, how the hell do we not see these deer? Like, makes no sense. Like, I've had camera pictures of them 7 days ago. Like, they're here, and one of those deer hasn't showed back up. So, case in point, maybe he died. Maybe he got shot during youth season or something. The other one I didn't see for 2.5 months showed up yesterday. And I'm like, there he is, alive and well, now on my property. Like, it just, those are the things that it lifts the veil a little bit, and it's cool to see that stuff kind of come together. But there's still so many unanswered questions of like, well, what about this deer? What about this deer? And that's where the communication with neighbors is hopefully good and thorough and trustworthy, because like in some cases we've done this recently in Illinois where I'm like, I just want to know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you killed that 155-inch 3-year-old, but I would love to know that he is dead and you killed him versus, I don't know what happened to him either. And I'm like, how's this possible? Like, how is that deer just vanish into thin air?
Yeah. And I think it's probably 50-50. It probably is like, farm specific or area specific in terms of, but I would say like 50% of the ones that go missing are, somebody killed them. And I think the other 50 are like, they just died. And then they eventually turn up somewhere, like we find them dead on our farm and we speculate. You're like, did they get shot? Did they, what happened here?
Yeah.
Who is this deer? Sometimes you'll find dead deer on your farm. You're like, I've never even seen this deer before. Like, where did this come from? The Hunter Podcast is brought to you by Hoyt.
Should be no surprise to anyone listening to this that back with Hoyt another season. I'm actually going to be shooting the AX2 aluminum this year.
You traitor.
But you're still going RX9.
Yeah, blacked out as always.
Blacked out. Big surprise for
80
everyone.
pounds. Big surprise. Yeah.
But seriously, man, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Every year it seems like we get a new Hoyt bow in our hands, and they're always a step above the last and just a step above everybody else.
Yeah, they're so consistent, man. Just their processes get better, every year. And we've really been excited about, as we've grown with Hoyt, we've brought some others in with us. And we just feel like the Hoyt family is growing, like the community, and we're really excited about the people that are involved, excited to be a part of that company. And it's really awesome.
So for anyone that's excited about Hoyt like Jared and I are, you can use the code HUNTR, HUNTR, on Hoyt.com.
Get serious, get Hoyt. That's part of maybe not the highs and lows of bow hunting, but of deer management, like of farm management is like, that's just the reality is that like, again, area specific or whatever, but like they'll leave, like they'll do things that are confusing. It's like, I don't understand why. Like we have all the food, we have all the habitat, we don't pressure it at all. Why would they go and do that? And the grass is always greener, mentality makes you seem like they're always leaving your farm and they're never coming to your farm, but
that's not the reality of it.
That's not the reality. And that's where I think like the mental game of land management is like, you just have to rely that like over the long term, if you invest enough into your properties and over the long term, like you're going to have some successes.
For sure. Yeah.
More than most people, maybe not more than you have losses or failures. It's going to come with a fair dose of that, but every once in a while, if you're persistent about it, and attitude, I think, has a big part to do with it too. It's like you're going to have some opportunities.
Your consistency is going to rival anyone else's.
Yep.
And like we were just talking about before, even with like a Winky property or something, it's like, maybe it's only every 2 or 3 years that you get a big deer, but that's still way more frequent than most people are going to get.
Yeah. Again, area
and I'm
specific.
not, it's because I'm saying that from like his perspective of like low deer density, just how it is in his area of Iowa, or even in my area of Kentucky. It's like I might get a mature buck every year on my farms because I have enough ground covered, but I might get a big deer every 3 years down there, and that's probably more consistent than all of my neighbors are getting.
That's fair, and I think that whatever, understanding that reality is important, so it's like, okay, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just, all right, it seems like over the past 9 years, I've been able to produce one big deer every, 3 years. I've got a target or whatever. So it's like, great. Is that enough for you? So that's where it becomes a personal thing. So that's where it does frustrate me that I can't grow more bigger deer more consistently on our farm in Ohio. But that's just the reality of, I think, of the neighborhood situation, and also the dynamic that we have of guys hunting the farm. It's just, it is what it is. So like, it's about having a realistic expectation there. And, so I don't get too worked up one way or the other. It's like, I'm going to have opportunities every couple of years to maybe shoot one of these deer, and it's going to be a mid-40s, 6-year-old kind of thing. So in the meantime, like, I'm going to go out and try to create more opportunities
elsewhere
and set those up. And then, sometimes they overlap and you kill 3 bucks in 1 year. And it's like, that can't happen every year probably. For instance, like we probably won't have a Kansas tag next year. So that, take that one off the table. The odds of me killing 2 bucks again in Illinois are low, just because we share the farm, and
yeah, maybe. I mean, they're there.
It's there. It's possible.
Yeah.
And there's enough deer to do it, which is cool, which is really cool.
I don't know if there's enough deer to do it every year.
Yeah, I don't.
Because at some point that's the boundary.
Here's where it would though, is because if we're consistently killing the neighbor's deer, because if you take it on a landscape level, like a neighborhood level, it's like, okay, there's this many.
Yep.
But if our farms lend the opportunities to kill a majority of those animals on a landscape level, then you can. That's like the right 40.
Those are the right 40s, exactly. Yeah, that's the way that the property works. Is you have to be able to look and say on a landscape level, there's 8 of them, and we can get 4 of them on our property.
Think about it, dude. I mean, it so easily you could go. Had we been there last week of October, you could have killed that 5-year-old heavy 9 or whatever. Just use that as an example. And in the next 3 days or a couple days, that giant 8 could show up. And so just like that, I mean, that's like last week, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the fine line.
Yep.
For sure, you could be tagged out on 2 of those mega giants.
I mean, there are enough deer there right now that if they showed up consistently, that I could punch 2 tags if I wanted to, just because we've seen them. Yeah. Not realistic in most places.
The consistency thing though is challenging. Like,
yeah,
I mean, they just don't do it that often. Like I can't recall anywhere this year that I was like, oh, he did it 3 times, so I went and killed him on the 4th time. Like that just doesn't really happen.
No,
unless it's super early season or super late season.
Yeah, well, and we're getting to that point. Like even that buck that showed up a couple nights ago in Ohio, though, and this is where you fight your inner demons. It's like that deer's mid-50s as a 4-year-old, probably mid-60s next year as a 5-year-old. For sure, the biggest deer that I'll have had on that farm, likely, consistently at least. So I'm gonna try to hold off and not kill him. Had I wanted to kill him, when I got pictures of him, this is where the cell cams and corn piles can kill him, is I would have went down and sat on that for gun season yesterday at 5:05. He walked right up to it, dead, toast. So, but like he may not be there tonight, but it'll be there. The consistency starts to break up over time. Like there's a small window of pattern there, right? I think you took advantage of it on that 11. In that small window of pattern ability, that it was like he's there, he's doing the thing. At some point, if I'm there as well, he'll cross my path.
Isn't that cool how that worked out?
But you were, it had you left, and then we went to Kansas, and then you're like, I'm going to go back and kill him. That pattern could have been completely shattered.
Could have been.
So it's just
the lesson there, though. One observation is like, it's not like, okay, he did it the X number of times and then go sit once.
No.
It's like, all right, go
sit 4 and he'll do it
once a week ago. So now go sit 4 days in a row
for him to do it.
It takes time, to overlap with that pattern.
And you could have missed him because you moved out of that area the day before. Easily. He could have did the thing the day before, and that would have been the opportunity, and you went right back to it and been gone.
Yeah,
that's the small window that I think people. And again, we're talking about from because we get asked all the time. It's like, how do I kill these bucks consistently? Like you can look at a guy like a Ben Rising who's just like,
I'll tell you what Ben said. Because he and I were talking about that Illinois deer beforehand, and he's like, yeah, dude, he was commenting about how people are like, how do you always killing these consistent deer? He's like, I freaking hunt, man. He's like, I hunt a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and he's aggressive too.
He's aggressive.
He's not I'm gonna wait 90 days and kill him on the 91st day. He goes for the throat every time. And some people, that's not their style, Like I would say like a Lukoski is very calculated in how his moves are made. He's hunting a lot, but the way that he's hunting specific deer, it's like he's wait. Now I'm going to go in and kill this deer. And he does. He calls a shot almost in some cases.
Well, that has a lot to do, I think, with living on a property versus traveling to a property.
What a complete, and it's cool because we're blessed enough to have what we have. But in hindsight, it's like I miss 98% of the opportunities on those farms. Like we were talking about it in the Hunt Companion this morning. It was like I said, I have 4 mature bucks on that Kentucky cabin, and you're like, what are you doing? And it's like I I don't have time. Like I'll be down there next weekend, but they may not do the thing next weekend. Or they may do the thing and we may kill 2 of them. You know, it's hard to say, but it's like, if I live there, yeah, dude, my tag would be punched.
Yeah. Well, it's the difference between like, you know, even out of season, like having the time to manipulate a property to create opportunities like you see Lukoski and, you know, whatever, the Kiski, you know, and, you know, anybody that's known for like, you know, consistency on that stuff, particularly in the Midwest, is because they can manipulate and shape farms.
Yep.
To the T, you know, and almost get deer like to the day, you know, and they're also ultra analytical, you know, with like,
yes,
moon phase, you know, juries. I should put juries in there too. I mean, they're tactical with it.
Yeah.
You know, and some of those guys will travel like a small distance, you know what I mean, relative to, you know, it's not a 9.5 hour drive like you and I have to make.
No.
So we attempt to manipulate our farms to make them as best as we can.
That's why we use the amount of cell cams as we do to try to monitor, because we can't be there.
But we have to maintain, you know, that what would you call it, like a rising mentality, to where it's like at some point you got to dive in and kill them.
That's most of the time when we get there. Like maybe if we have a 5-day hunt,
which
is rare. Maybe we're conservative the first 2 or 3 days. At some point we start saying, hey, should we go in honey hole? Which is the most aggressive move we have.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's because we're out of days. You know, and then we also know we're probably going to leave it for 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So it's going to settle back in.
Yeah. You're like, what, you know, yeah. I love, Bill said it. It might have been years ago, but it stuck with me. Winky, whether it was a narration or whatever, he's like, it's just the way he said, he was like, you know, the rut's like kind of here, you know, what am I waiting for? He's talking about, should I go hunt my best spot? It says like November 12th and he's like, hasn't hunted his best spot yet.
Yeah, it's probably
rut's kind of here, you know, what am I waiting for?
Yeah. And that, you know, there definitely are early aggressive moves that if the weather's right and it's calculated and, you know, but again, it's all spot to spot and property to property and even lifestyle standpoint. If it's like, hey, you got, you know, the right front and it correlates with your time off the hunt, like, yeah, don't dance around, man. You best go for it, because that might be your best chance all year. And those are the ones that, like, if you look back, it's like to the point of like the fine line between, you know, tagging out and missing it is like, you missed most of them because you held back or you didn't take the aggressive approach that day, or you couldn't hunt, which is for most of us the thing that happens. And so when you look at those kind of opportunities and those slip by, it's like, damn, there's only so many of those times where like weather's right, conditions were right, you had the time to go out and hunt them, and he did the thing. Like if you think of all of those adding up, there are not many days through a deer season that those things all cross paths at the same time.
Yeah. I will say,
the more you're out, the more that likely they will.
Yeah.
But for most guys who have, I don't know, 7 to 10 days to hunt a year,
I know.
like
that's tough, man.
Very, very few.
Well, and I don't know how relatable this conversation is that I'm getting ready to propose, but like as the years go on, like it's become a goal. I don't know if you could even call it a goal of mine as much as it would be like a dream, to where it's like, man, if you could create a situation where you take off the entire month of November, essentially the entire month of November, and
so like get laid off.
Well, and so yeah, no
job.
It's a lifestyle choice.
No job, no family.
It's a family and it's a career-based decision. But I mean, dude, there's situations that lend it. I mean, especially post-COVID, you know, I think I'll roll some right out of the gate. Like, dude, if you're committed, if you have like a 9 to 5 where you have to be in an office, it's not gonna work unless they give you whatever 5 to 7 weeks a year off, which some do. If you're committed to like a location from just whatever a blue collar activity,
you have to go to work.
You have to be at a physical location for work. That's going to be a real challenge again, unless you can get the time off there. But there are career paths that, you know, allow you to work remotely, or allow you to, you know, if it's client based or whatever, whether it's remotely or you can segment off, you know, a section of time there. To each their own. You know, I mean, however that sacrifice needs to be made. The other, and probably even a bigger one for you and I, is family. You know what I mean? You can't just leave your family for a month. Like, even if you could, I wouldn't advocate for anybody to do that.
It's not good. That's not healthy.
It's just really challenging. So like the dream that I have, you know what I mean? It's like it would be to have that time and to be able to dedicate it to one or more states,
Well, see, that's go ahead. I'll bring that up later.
And the challenging part here that we haven't figured out yet, I don't think, is how to involve the family.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, is like the biggest missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
If we could figure out, like, just use Illinois, for example. We both have 2 tags there.
Mm-hmm.
And your boys have tags. That's the tough part with the amount of acres that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But leave that aside for right now. Let's say we could convince the wives to come to Illinois with us and your boys.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just say, hey, deer camp is Illinois this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're there from November 1st to end of November or whatever. You know what I mean? To pick your dates. And we're just there. You know what I mean? It's like, so for me, Margie's, Dairy Marsh closed at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate is what's ongoing, so we'd have to coordinate, like with JD, to say, here's how we're going to handle that. We still have to manage our own. And we have done that. I've had properties under contract. I'm closing on one today. That's been on contract since September.
Real estate's advanced. You could do remote closings all the time.
It's doable. We've built that business around like our lifestyle in that time of year. And dude, I tell clients in September, I'm like, hey, listen, it's coming.
Yeah.
Here's what that's going to look like from my standpoint. Just expect it, and it's been fine. You know what I mean? So then you just do it. You go. And dude, there's people, who knows, there's probably more than we know about, but like recently it's like, Ritz, I know, set something up like this. Lakoski, I know they run their stuff like this. Boom, boom, but run down the list of like your diehard whitetail guys. It's like, dude, they don't do anything but hunt the entire month of November.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're there yet. I'm not saying it's even a goal necessarily, but it's in the dream phase to I'm like, how can we do something like that?
Well, the easiest way to do it is to have it in your backyard.
Yes, for sure.
Like if you had the right farm in your backyard, I could take off the month of November theoretically.
Way less sacrifice there.
My family's there. When I come out of the tree stand, they're there. I see them in the evening. Maybe before the time change and stuff, I see them in the morning.
Okay.
Like, I could still do the work I need to do in the mornings and evenings or from the tree stand even. Like that, if it's in your backyard, it's doable.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where I think maybe not the whole month of November. That's where a lot of the just guys that we don't know, like not the Ben Risings or Josh Bomars or whoever, who are killing big bucks consistently, are doing it because it's in their backyard. And walk out and whether it's in Illinois and killing $2 or they're in Iowa and they've got $3 tags, like that's how they're doing it. Where I think we and a lot of people probably listening to this run into issues is we got to travel to get there. That's the killer.
Yeah. And
that's the killer because you're mobile. Your family's not as mobile as we want,
absolutely.
Right? Because you have some obligations to the house at home or whatever it is, or the job at home or something. So the mobileness, or having remote properties, in theory, makes a lot of sense. This is the second year that I've looked at it and said it's definitely a weakness as well. Because you're so scattered and you never, to the point of like what I just said in Kentucky, it's like, I would have easily killed one of those mature bucks had I spent all my hunting time in Kentucky. I didn't. I spent very little there, therefore tags unpunched, and honestly is that, I spent some time in Kansas, spent some time in Illinois, spent some time in Ohio, if I look at all of those places, like I'm sitting with all of my tags in my hands.
Yeah.
Had I spent in one or two of them, I'd say at least one of them's punched.
Probably.
So that becomes like, as I look at it and reflect, it's like, and again, it's, unfortunately the back door here is Pennsylvania, right? Like, but it's like, do I have a bigger farm here to try to kill something? Do I get something closer from Ohio to home where it's like an hour and a half-ish, to get somewhere versus 3.5 hours to get somewhere? I don't know. I'm just talking out loud. But that I say that because I think a lot of people listening to this are in that situation. They can't walk out back and just spend the time there to kill the big buck that they're after. They're traveling to a different state or traveling hours to a lease or whatever it is.
For sure. Well, and we are too. I mean, so my minimum
that's what I'm saying.
is 2 hours, but it's just interesting. Like from year to year here, we're trying to like learn and grow now. And now's the time, like, post rut where we're collecting ourselves and being like, how did that go? How do we want it to change in the future? What tags do we have? How do these farms hunt is a big part of it, you know? And so like, what's interesting is, dude, for the past 2 years, I haven't hunted in Ohio.
I know.
In the month of November.
I know. And would you say part of that is because you've had better deer to hunt elsewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main reason.
Yeah.
Well, not just that there's better deer to hunt elsewhere, but it's also because like in the meantime, like our farm's just getting pounded.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like don't
Right.
want to be there for it. I'm just kind of like, I'd rather go have a better opportunity somewhere else.
But hypothetically, if you lived in your parents' house and like, let's say it's you and dad, they're the only ones that hunt it.
Yeah.
You probably would marry yourself to that farm more.
I'd be tagged out.
I know.
By then.
Yeah.
I'd be tagged out by the
you
end of
had,
October most
years. You'd have
years.
the time because it's right there out the back. You're living there. You walk out back. You're there.
I'd have the time and I'd have first dibs at the good opportunities. Like, dude, the only reason
Ben Rising might be the only guy that I know who is not checking most of his boxes by walking out the back door.
For some reason, and it's not. I don't want to give him over credit here, but Ritz is another one that we've talked to recently. That
because Ritz is in New Hampshire or wherever, and he's going to. I don't know how much time he spends in Illinois.
The whole month.
I don't know if his family spends a lot of time there with him.
I think they do. I think they kind of all go and they have deer camp and yeah.
So that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's, Greg will be open about that too. Like there's a lot of money involved in that to be able to buy a farm like that and pay a full-time person to manage the farm there.
Oh, it's like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 2,500 acres. I mean, it's a giant farm.
It's not realistic for us, let alone most people, but great, awesome.
Yeah,
if you can do that, I would do that too.
And I'm also not saying like directly out the back door because like if I take a Bomar, for instance, like his farms are an hour this way, an hour and a half that way, an hour, 30 minutes this way. Like he's still home based out of home.
Oh yeah.
But he's traveling. So that's what I guess I'm.
Yeah. Travel to an Iowa guy, like most of them are like, I have to drive like a freaking hour to this farm. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So that's what I guess that's what I'm saying is like the ability to be home based during the season to accomplish your goals versus the ability of literally having to move that base to accomplish the goals.
Big deal.
I would say that most people not waste, but lose a lot of time in that process.
Oh, definitely. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Predator Camo.
Man, this one feels good, right? I know people have been looking at this picture over your shoulder for a while now. I think that was 2018, but we just, over the last, how many years, keep coming back to Predator Camo because it's been so damn good for us.
No doubt. I think we bought our first set off of Jen at the Archer Trade Show almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Jen's still with the company, and the patterns have, only improved since then. They actually were recently acquired within the past couple of years. We've had a chance this past year to go and meet with new ownership, talk about redesigning a lot of the old lines, plans for new patterns, all of the above. So really excited about what's to come, not only this coming year, but in years to come. There's a lot of good stuff coming from Predator.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, it's always been going back to that breakup pattern, right? That's the historic look, whether you're talking about the spring greens or brown deceptions or fall grays. Yep. I mean, that breakup is really what's been so powerful for us in a tree stand. And right now, they're letting anyone use the code HUNTR on the Predator Camo website and get 20% off any of the lines, including all the new stuff that dropped here in July.
Be the Predator. Well, dude, what kills deer is watching them, is seeing them and seeing what they do, and then
just being there.
And then ambushing. So, yeah, living in the state that you deer hunt is undoubtedly a huge advantage. But yeah, there's no question there.
Yeah, and I think that and that's the hardest part for, guys listening to this sitting in Pennsylvania or Michigan or New York or West Virginia or, the list goes on, is like, we all can kill deer, but the type of deer that we want to kill are rare to non-existent in our backyards.
So, but what I'm talking about is, I think, blending the lifestyles
it's tough.
Of someone who lives in a farm that they whitetail hunt in and somebody who travels to strategically take out deer, to kill big bucks. How do you combine it for just a few weeks out of the year? And the two main stakeholder things that we've talked about seem to be the career oriented and family focused.
I think those are the only two things.
How do you get them to overlap enough? I think it's like if you get enough people and willpower involved and enough back end incentive for the other family members.
It's tough.
To put it as simply as possible, it's like, how do we get the families out to Illinois so that we can hunt there for 3 weeks? For 3 weeks.
My kids are in school when they are 18.
School. There you go.
When they're 18.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Yeah. So 9 years.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. That was like I know COVID was rough for
How
a
does
lot
that
of
work?
people.
Is there a situation where they can let kids like remote learn for, hey, I'm taking my kids to Europe for a month?
I mean, yes, but it's like educational and like you're having to check a lot of boxes on those things.
Okay.
For sure.
But it's possible. Tell me there's a chance.
Doubtful. Very doubtful.
I'm just asking because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely like study abroad for, a half a year or a year or whatever to do that stuff. There is remote learning. Like, there's cyber school. Like, there are plenty of kids that don't go to schools anymore, especially after COVID.
Mm-hmm.
They do cyber school and just, work remotely from wherever.
Okay.
So it does happen. Yeah, but that's your barrier. And then, yeah, obviously they're not doing sports or anything at that point either. You're pulling them out of there.
Because in a way, like it's almost like, granted, this is not the class of like
and then throw
people that we're in, but dude, people go and they're like, hey, let's go and live in Florida for a month.
Yep.
And they have like their house or whatever. So it's like, why couldn't you pull
they're
something?
Retired.
A lot of them are.
Yeah.
A lot of them are. Well, and there's a wealth status that is tied to a lot of that too, which we don't have either.
I mean, not the Florida thing. Like I just talked to a guy the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow for Florida." He's from Minnesota. People
do it with kids, though. I know they do. I know people are like, "Well, we spend 6 months in Europe, and then we spend,
I assume they're getting taught homeschooled.
Yeah, homeschooled, cyber school, something like that.
Yeah, something like that would be my guess.
I'm talking about a very scaled down version of that. Like, I'm talking about 3 weeks. Like 3 weeks to a month.
That's tough. Some of those private schools have it, like where they've got fall breaks that are a week and a half or 2 weeks, and but they go to school all summer as well. Like they basically do trimesters versus semesters.
Okay. Well, and at that point, because your kids are involved, you'd have to shape it around them too.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't just be like, well, Jared and Jeremy want to go hunt, so you kids do school this way now. It would have to be a family decision to be like.
Mm-hmm. Which is where like Grits with like 2,500 acres probably. Yeah, that's how he pulls it off.
Do you guys want to? Are you invested in? Do you guys want to do this deer hunting thing?
Mm-hmm.
If so, is this something that you would want to do? It would look different. It'd be different, but I wonder if my dad had proposed that to me, what I would have said. When I was their age.
Yeah, I think it'd be. I mean, if I said, "Hey," and we did it during COVID. When we had COVID, we lived at the cabin for a month. We just went and stayed at the cabin for a month because there was nowhere else to be or go. And we loved it because we fished every day. Like it was in hunting season, but we did work at the farm, or at the property because I didn't have the new farm yet. But yeah, we had the boat. And so we went fishing every day, every other day. And it was awesome, but they had schoolwork to do, temporarily. And then there wasn't schoolwork to do. So,
yeah. And would you look back on that and say like that was a great time?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, man, how do you? Is that something we could recreate?
No. I mean, if there's a pandemic, the reason it was awesome is because they weren't missing anything. Everybody else was in the same boat. If anything, we were just enlightening of the situation. But if everybody else is doing school and sports and then they're not, like they're out of line essentially on that side.
Yeah.
Now, if your kids are in cyber or whatever, then probably because it's not going to change anything. Those are the people who I assume do travel. The flip side is like, what's your wife going to do for 3 weeks in the middle of nowhere? Because that's where you're deer hunting.
Yep.
And when you're spending potentially dark to dark on some of those. Which is why I advise not to take Margie on your last Illinois trip.
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm like looking for an advantage to having them both there and or like the families because it's like, we are going to be pretty invested in the hunting stuff there. It's before dark, after dark,
Sounds like you need to move.
Well,
that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but that doesn't solve the what is your wife going to do thing because then it's...
Well, I mean, you start a new life.
Yeah, but... I don't think so. For us, the limiter there is both of our businesses. It'd be our physical.
Yeah, but our business
ice cream
we
store
could
location.
Figure it out. The physical location would be you'd have to sell the business.
You'd have to sell that and
invest and start a new one.
Start something different. Our real estate thing would be challenging because it's a different model. I mean, doable, maybe, but
just get licensed in that state and you operate in that state. And
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what I'm after.
Mm-hmm.
As much as, at least in the short term here, like, again, not a goal even necessarily. I'm just we're fleshing it out because it's fun to talk about. Because, dude,
if you're going to move, you're not moving to Illinois, though. You move to Iowa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah, it has to be.
Just from a tag standpoint.
Yes.
It's more so just the like, is that, because I had a lot of fun this past year, but it's like, looking back on it, it's like, man, could our families also benefit or would they enjoy doing some part of that, or no? We would having them there
to a point, until the stress of the families come down on you, and then you're not even enjoying it.
What do you mean stress of the family?
Well, again, there's, like, if we're talking about our Illinois farm, there's nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they going to go? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Well, in an old farmhouse, with 4 dogs. Like, at some point, it's not fun for them. And then it becomes not fun for you, because then they're like, I don't want to be here anymore. And you're like, well, we signed up for this. We're here for 3 weeks.
Right. Well, then maybe
Yeah.
I see that too.
For me, it's 9 years out, and at that point, then it is, there's a lot of things. Like, I'm 50 years old at that point. Like, I'm in, I don't know what kind of financial situation, but my kids are in college. I still have my wife and dogs probably at some point to be like, hey, what are they doing? But, like, Emily's fine. Like, if I'm like, she's like, hey, I'm going for 3 weeks to run in Colorado. I'm like, cool, great. I'm going to go hunt for 3 weeks.
Well, and maybe that's a better way, because that's kind of what we do now, with Margie anyway. She's like, this November was a little different just because we had the sewer project that we've been working on. Mm-hmm. But regardless, it was fine. Like, she's pretty well accustomed at this point to, like, what deer season looks like. And I push the boundaries a little bit every year.
No.
Yeah, me. Can you believe that? I know.
There's no way.
I know. But somehow she's like come to terms. And
well, for context, it's because you guys don't see each other a lot through the summer because of the way that your schedule and her schedule works with work and the ice cream shop and things like that.
Well,
you see each other more than you used to do because you've got some help down there.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, it's not in passing, but it's also not like a ton of time together. So when the Dairy Mart wraps in mid-October, that's also as hunting is ramping.
Yeah.
So, like, she's finally out and escaped to where she's got all the free time she wants.
Yeah.
And you are like, yeah, I'm going hunting.
Well, it's a very intentional effort year round for us to, like, maintain a marriage, like to have a good marriage. Not that it's struggling in any way, but
which it should be. You should be intentional about.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether you're hunting or not. Yeah. I mean, it should be very intentional. But, like, we make, I would say, like, pretty extreme efforts to, like, make sure that we are, like, doing whatever we should be doing as a married couple. Like, we go on a lot of dates. We do spend a lot of time together, despite. So it's like we're just intentional about having our schedules overlap. Even though she works a lot during the summer and I hunt a lot during the hunting season, and I'm working throughout the entire time there. And multiple weeks on end gets tough just because they miss us. And we miss them, kind of a thing. I mean,
well, and there's whatever. Things happen, stress at home, like, stuff happens. Dog runs away, whatever.
Inevitably.
There's something. Yeah, they need us. That's the whole point of a marriage.
Wow, the dog running away thing, that's just like expect women to do women things. So if your expectations are in check, then, like, it's par for the course. Yeah, of course the dog ran away. He never runs away when I'm watching him, but fine.
But that's the whole point of a marriage is, like, it's couple effort on stuff. It's complete. I mean, no knock to you. It's a much different game when there's kids involved, though.
No doubt. But yeah, none taken.
Because then, I for sure, even though it's not as much as, maybe I want, I get away with hunting a lot more now than I did 5 or 6 years ago when there was a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old or whatever,
Yeah, dude.
There's a period of time from, like, baby to 6 or 7 where it's like, a week gone is pushing it because mom's been handling the kid for, 24 hours a day.
I get it.
So, but obviously now they're 9 and 13. So, like, they still annoy the shit out of her, but, like, they survive. They can fend for themselves. They can make their own food. They can whatever, do their own things. There's still coordination of like schoolwork and sports and things like that is always going to be there until they're self-sufficient to drive and do it themselves.
Yep.
But there for sure, like there's been a lot of people that have wrote just talking about like, you know, how to do it when they're like, I just had my kid's 2 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, dude. Like the next 5 years aren't going to be easy. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's because you can neglect that and be a very poor spouse and parent, or you can basically not be selfish and contribute and sacrifice right now to know later, like you'll have that opportunity. And hopefully at some point they'll do it with you. You know, your kids will do it with you, but that's not for me to tell anybody how to parent. It's just, there's a time and a place for it. And, you know, whether it's discussed or not, the stresses of parenthood on hunting there's a lot of people. Ben's told me numerous times that, you know, he hunted too much and when he should have been around as a parent.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows it. He knows it. And I think a lot of people know that,
well,
whether they would admit it or not.
Yeah. And you wonder how much is too. Do you just feel that way? Is it just a guilt factor, or
it definitely is a guilt factor? Or
because anytime you spend away from your kid, you're like, it's too much. Honestly, that's one thing that like for me is like, I don't know if it's a deterrent, but it's definitely a consideration. It's like I hear a lot of people talk about taking any time for themselves at all, or being away from their kids at all. Like, there's a guilt factor.
Well, dude,
like to go to the gym, it's like, what am I doing here? I should be with my kid, but it's like, well, no, you should be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, what is?
No, there for sure is. There was what's his name?
Dan.
Dan. No, not Dan Infalt. Dan, Nine Finger Dan.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not Infalt. What's Dan's last name?
Johnson.
Yeah. Nine Finger. He put that post out of like, hey, when's the last time you were like going out and doing something and you went by whatever, you know, a Jimmy John's or a Subway, and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to go in and eat it by myself and like just sit down. And I was like, decades. Like, and it's not just because of family as much as it is work and I've got other things to do. But yeah, like not very
In
often.
what sense? Like I'm going to go out and do something for myself?
Yeah, like a dad, like he was referring to it as like a dad thing. Like, you know, just because you're always on the move and you're trying to get stuff done, but it's like, and you know, hunting is one of those escape opportunities. You know, even though we've talked about it, like I've sat less, I probably sat equal now myself than with a kid this season.
Yeah.
We've probably split the hunts down the middle.
Yep.
But his point there was like, you know, when's the last time, like, yeah, you were just out doing something and you're like, I'm just going to stop in and have a beer and eat a burger and then I'll go home. I couldn't tell you. No,
really?
10 years.
Interesting.
Maybe more. 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, just unless I'm like waiting for like my tires to get changed across the road or something.
You know, you're stacking things like in areas that are important to you. Like, you know, what other dads with 2 kids are going, you know, you spent a week in Kansas and a week in Illinois. And I mean, that's, as we're talking, like in my mind here, I'm thinking about like most of the guys that you can see get away with that, like have like really, there's a woman involved, you know, who's like holding down the fort, especially with like the kids.
Absolutely.
Lucas Psycho is another one that comes to mind. It's like, dude, he, you know, every year he hunts a lot, you know, a lot of it's close to home. There's that kind of thing going on there. But I mean, dude, he's hunting
a lot.
It's hunting. And he had an Iowa tag. He went and spent a bunch of time there and whatever, on and on. And it does have, dude, even with them Western guys, like it's happening across the border where there's a woman involved that's holding down like the fort with the kids, and some are more tolerant than others, you know. And I just think it comes with, you have an understanding with your spouse about like, how's this going to work? What's the trade-off going to be here? And,
well, dude, that's where, and we've had this conversation, I think when Kevin Mara was here, is like, my wife has a passion and it's running. And so like even this weekend, tomorrow, she's going to run a 100K race in Virginia. And then she's going to help her friends down. She'll be gone tomorrow afternoon till Sunday. Yep. And I'm like, cool. I'll see you when you get back.
See, and that's awesome.
It's great because
it's awesome. And see, I'm trying to check myself to be, am I being selfish or manipulative even in saying it's great that she has that, because now you can go, you know.
No, it's that's the trade-off.
That's right though. You guys have a trade. It's awesome.
We have a trade-off.
See, that's where
there'll still be tension, right?
Yeah.
Because like I'll be, I'll get to the point where she'll be like, well, what do you mean you're going to go do this again? And I'm like, well, hunting season's only 3 months. And then she'll be like, yeah, but then food plot season. And then
it never
she's
ends.
right. She's right. It never ends. Neither does running, right?
That's
it's
right.
all. So we've.
But that's great. So it's
taken
like,
a while.
This both takes a lot. Let's support each other and have a team.
And it's perfect.
When Margie and I think were struggling with the hunting, she felt she was missing me. She thought I was hunting too much. And I was hunting less than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
It was because she didn't have things that she liked to do as much. And so she was just sitting at home lonely.
Yeah, which is the worst.
And I was like, let's find something to do. You know what I mean? Like, what do you enjoy? And so and it's not like I helped her to find her thing.
Is that when she started taking trips?
That's what's happened over years. And so now, today she left to go to Philly to see a friend for 3 days. And
there you go.
And it's funny because like, I know some couples where like the guy wouldn't like that. He'd be like, no, like, what do you mean? Like they're insecure or they're controlling. Like, I'm not that way at all. I'm like,
no,
thumb on the relationship. You know what I mean? It's not like I want her just out gallivanting around, but she's not. Like,
I mean, dude, Emily's gonna get 2 of the friends she's helping are guys. Like, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, cool, I know 'em.
I'm all for it. You know what I mean? She takes like our Dairy Mart employees on trips and stuff, and I'm like, that's great. And there's certain things that I want to be involved with, but there's also like a trade-off to where I'm like, I'm glad that you found something that you enjoy that offsets.
So critical, dude.
Me doing
because
my
that
thing.
is the gap. Is when and unfortunately that's usually coincides for a lot of couples with like early kid side because. When you have a kid that's under 5 years old, like there just isn't free time for everybody to have hobbies to do stuff. Like your kid is your hobby because there's just a ton of attention that has to be there.
Right.
And so in a lot of cases, unfortunately, the woman ends up with the raw end of that stick.
Yep.
And so I saw that. Like there was a period of time, like even when I went and hunted, if I went for 3 days, by day 3, it was like, I got to get home because like it's tense. Because she didn't have anything to go do because she couldn't go do anything. She was responsible for the kids. Kids weren't going to school. She had them all day. Mm-hmm. They needed her. They depend, like at that time, like their lives depend on them. And so you find it being shorter and shorter. And I say that so that people listening is like they're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because as the kids get older, they go to school full time. That's when all of a sudden she was like, wait a minute, I have 6 hours or 7 hours a day now that like the kids are in school, house is taken care of. What do I do? Well, dude, she'll go run for 5 hours. Mm-hmm. Like that's her thing. And everybody can have a different thing, whether it's, going and seeing friends or family or shopping or I don't know what it is. But they start to find that and then all of a sudden the life is complete, right? And so the trade-off then is very easy to say, hey, what do you got this weekend? Oh, I'm going on a long run on Sunday. That's it. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to take the kids hunting Saturday. Done. Like easy. Mm-hmm. And so, but when they, and it could be anyways, like, I don't know what Melissa Bachman's husband does, but Melissa, she goes and hunts and he's like,
he's game warden.
I'm lonely. Okay.
He hunts a lot too, I think.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time with hunters.
Yeah.
So he's not
he carries her decoy out.
Yeah. So like, but hypothetically, or Emily's husband who doesn't hunt that much, Emily Schatt.
Yeah. What did she say? He does a lot.
I don't know.
Doesn't hunt. Wait, that was interesting.
So, if Emily's out hunting a lot, like, is her husband at home like, hey, I'm lonely, like, I don't have it. I'm sure they have something that fills that gap.
She's like, you best be cooking dinner, bitch.
Yeah, it best be warm when I get home. That's what I'm talking. So, but it's just critically important to have, and frankly, it makes the relationship a lot easier when you have that kind of mindset around there.
HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Bushnell.
Man, what an iconic brand. I mean, I vividly remember growing up, it seemed like every serious deer hunter had a Bushnell pair of binoculars or Bushnell rifle scope. You knew that those guys were serious about what they were about to go with if they were packing the Bushnell stuff.
No doubt, man. I remember Bone Collector guys and so many others that we've respected over the years. It's always been like your grandpa's rifle scope. And since then, obviously, they've developed so many great products. We're rocking the R series of binoculars this year. I believe it's the R5, 10x42s. Those have been awesome. We took those to TAC a couple weeks ago, along with the Broadhead rangefinder. That's got a ton of technology packed into it for angles and and for bow hunters ultimately. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things, we've talked about this with a lot of the brands we're working for, is we want high quality gear that's affordable, and that's exactly what Bushnell's trying to position here. They want to make really good gear that anyone that's serious about deer hunting can afford. And so most most of those R5 series binos that we're talking about are under $300 for unbelievable glass.
No doubt. And so for right now, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, to get a discount on the Bushnell website. That's bushnell.com.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that from a relationship standpoint, right, just having both, people in the relationship having things that they want to do, and then obviously the complexity of kids is a different ballgame and stuff. But
and you gotta find things to do together too. You know what I mean? I think that's
and that's the challenge in not trying to like debunk your theory.
Yeah. No, it's a good full circle on
that's the challenge in like the theory of like, for sure, like, for instance, if I told my kids, hey, we're going to go down to Ohio and we're going to spend a week at deer camp, they'd be all for it.
Yep.
Just because it's new, they don't do it much, we'll go, we're not going to do all day sits. We're going to go hunt in the morning. We'll come back in the afternoon. We'll watch TV, make a fire, whatever.
Or just 10 to 2, maybe.
Maybe just 10 to 2, yeah. And, but yeah, so that's what, and they would be fine for a week. If I put Emily in the position, besides like maybe just going and running around there, she'd be bored.
Did you have an idea there just for a second? You're like, maybe I could find some marathons.
No, she would. I was just thinking she would run around
hey,
there.
Babe, why don't we'll drive and you just run out and meet us?
Yeah, she would just run around there.
I'm
just like, yeah, how many meth heads is she going to run into out there? I don't know. But yes, that would be it. But that's what she does in Kentucky. Like if when Harlan and I were hunting over Thanksgiving, her and Carter would go run 5 miles somewhere, or do whatever.
Yeah.
So that just became the thing. Or they were just, in the morning, they would just be hanging at home and eating breakfast or whatever. And then we would get back at 9 o'clock because it was cold or something.
Well, I think that's kind of what I was looking for, was just like a slower lifestyle. Like, and I hear you too. Like, it's like, yeah, what do you do for whatever it is, a couple weeks or a month? It's like, but
when they don't enjoy, and I say they, I mean the spouses. When the spouses don't enjoy the thing that you want to do as much as you do, it is very difficult. Like, I look at Nick and Allie, who we just had. It's
difficult to try to do it together, but it's also just like, it's fine. Like,
it is fine. Yeah. But for like, so Nick and Allie travel all over the place. Yep. They will hunt together some. They also hunt separate a lot.
Yeah.
In the same area, but just whatever. Nick's back at camp and Allie's hunting or whatever it is, like Emily will hunt, but not like that. Mm-hmm. And so, like, if I'm like, hey, we're going to go to Kentucky for a week and hunt, she'll be like, well, cool, I'll go out a couple times, but I'm going to just, like, run and hike and stuff. Because that's what she would rather do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, dude, Margie wouldn't even, she could care less. She wouldn't want to hunt one time.
Which is why I said don't take her to the farmhouse that week in November. Because I was like, what's she going to do for a week? Because I knew you also were hunting dark to dark. That also
wasn't a month. That was, but you're right. It's the dark to dark is tough because it's like.
What'd she do for a week?
Yeah, I mean, 4 days. 4 days.
Yeah.
Well, and in my mind, on that trip specifically, you know what I mean? I think she would have had fun, like, rooting through the house stuff. Like, no, yeah, and I still think she would. She enjoys, even now, she's, like, invested, even though I haven't let her at all. She's like, well, what are they doing with the roof? Like, what are they doing? Or, how, she wants to be involved in our home renovation. She loves that stuff.
Yeah. Property flipper.
Yeah.
Maybe you just need to buy like a house and let her flip it, and that'll keep her occupied.
She would love it.
I know.
She would love it. Okay, so there you go. So we, you just got to buy another house in Illinois, or the one we bought.
Wherever.
On these,
you're saying like close by, so she's occupied for the 4 weeks.
Just work on a house all day for a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
Here's your budget. Bring your contractors in.
Yeah. Do your thing.
She'd do great with it. She'd be way over budget by.
You'd lose money.
She'd be way over budget.
You'd lose money.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thought process, is like you have to figure out, because it's there definitely are people that do it, but not as many as that get committed and they use home as base or second home. Like, I could use my cabin as a base in Kentucky easily, and Emily she'd live there. If I said, hey, we're moving there, besides the kids being in school, she'd be packed and already down there. Mm-hmm. No problems, no questions. She loves it there. But she would just go and do her own thing from there. And the only thing that would prevent us from doing that now is work here and kids in school. Right? 9 years from now, she already expects us to live down there. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, we're moving here. I'm like, okay, cool.
Why does she like it there so much? She's because her family is there?
No, no. I mean, their family's like a couple hours. Just the area. Like, she went to college an hour from there. And so like that natural gorge area and stuff, she spent a lot of time in college down there. And so that area is just, that's like home for her.
Isn't it interesting how you feel called to a certain area, or you just
that's
like
it. That's her. And Frank, and she's not wrong. Like most people here are assholes. Like you wave at them and they're like, fuck you. Down there, like it's, Southern people. They're just, there's meth heads and crackheads just like anywhere. But like most of the people are nice and you got good neighbors and yeah. So, the unfortunate thing for me is like, it's just not a great deer hunting area.
Right.
It's a fantastic turkey hunting area, which sucks. Like I have an amazing turkey hunting farm. It's awesome. It's off the charts. Yeah. But I'm working. This is like the earlier discussion we had off record about mine and Bill's like mirror of farms is like the farm looks good, and it doesn't hunt bad. It's just I have a very low deer density. In 9 years when I moved there, will that have changed? I don't know. Maybe. That's multiple deer generations. Mm-hmm. Doubtful though. Like, and it's just some of it's the uncertainty of like what's causing it. Like, is it EHD every 2 or 3 years that's knocking it back? Is it reproduction rates? I don't think so. Like, I mean, I know it's mountains. It's just there's not a lot of deer, but maybe predators are playing a huge role in keeping that population knocked down, which is something I'm going to focus on. I've got a pack of coyotes and some dogs that are in trouble this year. Mm-hmm. Not for me, but they're in trouble this year.
Right. Just generally speaking.
I'm just going to hire somebody to take care of the issues. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I mean, and I had bears on there this year too for the first time. So like, if you're only having, I don't know, 20 fawns born on a property and coyotes and bears eat 15 of them, like it's a hard time to continue to grow the population.
Yep.
The cool thing is the hunting pressure is way down there. And I've seen that I can get deer to 6, 7, 8 years old even down there.
Yeah. Well, it's and it's fun for us to like tease it apart there. It's like, how much do you want to incorporate a lifestyle into like the hunting season? Like, should there be overlap? If so, how much?
I look forward to the day, and maybe it's not 9 years, maybe it's 12 or who knows. I look forward to the day that I walk out back and my farm is there. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine like how good of a feeling that will be to be like, yeah, I can mow tonight or I can mow tomorrow versus like I've got an entire list to accomplish in 48 hours. And if I don't do it, I won't see it again for 3 weeks.
Yeah. See, I don't think that, I mean, I do want that, I think. I mean, yeah, obviously, I do want that. That would be awesome to have. I don't think that with where we like seems like currently would be feasible for us. Like, it's not feasible for us to move to Iowa, for instance, because of the businesses that we have here, and also because of like just Margie and I's lifestyle, particularly hers and her family. You know what I mean? Her family's here, so like that's just probably not going to happen. So, okay, you know what I mean? It's like you can't win them all, I guess.
Can't win them all.
So, but if you want that, it's like, all right, that probably means here in Pennsylvania. So I want that someday. I want a farm here that I can do something with, you know, just to be able to like scratch the itch of managing a farm. I just love that part of it.
Well, dude, and I have said it a number of times, like the opportunity to produce a giant buck in Pennsylvania is here. They're doing it right now. People are killing. I got Jeremiah sent me a picture of a 180-inch deer that was killed on the mountain this week. Wow. Like a freaking mammoth anywhere.
Yep.
So like it's here. Yep. It's not easy. It's not going to look like Illinois. Yep. But you for sure can have mature deer and probably big deer on your property if you buy in the right place and you put the effort into it. Yeah. Because that's the one thing that most people aren't doing in Pennsylvania, which to like a Bomar thought process is there aren't many people that own a chunk of land and they manage it hard for deer. Right. It just isn't a thing here right now.
Yeah, I agree. So, but even if I can accomplish that, the reality is like you get one tag here. And so I don't see that ever like filling my cup the whole way. So I'll
No.
probably always go to the Midwest.
Yeah. If you have the time and the money, why not?
Right.
Yeah. It's not I mean, I would say most people are not a one tag quenched thirst anymore because of the resources that are out there and the ability to just get to places. So yeah, you're always going to go to the Midwest, whether it's, and frankly, being Pennsylvania, like, unless they absolutely shit a brick and destroy the herd, which they're on their way, like Ohio is right there. Like, you could own a farm an hour from your house in Ohio and be there. You'd go there every day if you wanted to.
Well, yeah. Well, dude, yeah. Ohio is always on the table. Like that. There's a future for us, for me, in Ohio. It's just.
Is it at your current farm?
It is what it is for right now, I guess. It's like.
Would you ever think of buying another farm in Ohio?
Yeah, I guess.
In the right place?
Like me personally?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
it's kind of a tough pill because I look at it.
The distance is hard to argue with because it's like, yeah, I mean,
it's a no-brainer.
If I can drive 2 hours and have a good hunting situation. The problem is, like, there's so many issues with how they're managing the deer herd, and it's like in my opinion, a downward trajectory. Could they change that? Could they change some things that, or are there areas that just I'm not currently in? Then yeah.
I mean, there definitely are some giant deer areas that are consistently producing big deer and have healthy deer numbers.
Yeah.
They're tough to get into and they're unbelievably expensive.
I know.
Like Madison and I were just talking about an area, and first of all, the reason I asked that is because, like, I wouldn't buy another Ohio farm until I sold my other one. Right. Like, it just wouldn't make sense
and that's
to have those.
Part of the dilemma I'm in too is like,
you got a huge farm.
We got a huge farm here. It's like, am I really going to justify going and spending another $1 million on a farm?
It's really hard. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't buy one until I sold one. But like those places that are good, it's like 10 to 15 grand an acre. And again, as much as I'm buying this for deer hunting, it's still a family investment, right? It's a part of the personal finances. Like, if that herd gets wiped by EHD or something else, the state just mismanages, whatever it is, like, there's no way that land can sustain that value. It can't. Like, it is the one crippling thing that could happen that makes it not a smart investment. And I'm not saying that's going to happen even in our lifetimes. I don't know. But it's a hard pill to swallow to be like, am I going to buy 80 acres for $800,000 because it's good deer hunting right now? Yeah, I would. But what if 2 years from now, what happened in Southern Ohio happens there? Like, I'm sitting on a $800,000 investment that they're not even a deer on my property.
Just as what it is. I mean, don't bite off more than you can chew. Like,
and it should recover.
Be able to withstand. It
should recover. We talked about EHD buying with Emily. Like, there are definitely people that are going through Meigs, Athens, Washington, Morgan County in Ohio right now,
and great time to buy.
Buying property for cheap because people are
6
like,
years from now, dude, it's gonna be epic.
They'll be banging.
Yep.
And it will come back. It just seems so far off. And like, that was the conversation I had with Bill. I was like, man, I don't know how long I hold these farms. Is like, it takes 5 years to grow a 5-year-old buck. Well, in the midst of that, I get EHD or something happens. Does that set me back 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Like, all of a sudden 10 years goes by and you're like, I'm 50 years old. Like, holy shit. Like, now what do I do? So there's only so much time, like, in the spectrum there of like, I don't expect very many farms out there for you to buy and walk into an unbelievable situation where you're killing just giant after giant after giant. Like, it doesn't happen. It's not a realistic thing. They exist, but they're very rare. The reality is it's an every 2 or 3 year thing when you start really putting in the work from a consistency standpoint.
I think in the right areas it can be more than that.
Yeah,
I think like in the Midwest, generally speaking, and maybe some places, and I'm just I'm just going off what we know. It's like there's enough deer space that it can happen, and the pressure is low enough that it's like like on our Illinois farms, like it's realistic to think we could kill 260 plus inch deer a year on 200 something acres.
I would agree.
It was not a small investment.
No.
It's costly. But but it's a great situation. It's what we wanted, and it's a good investment. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's appreciated significantly.
And I was going to say, yes, the recreational value is huge, but the tillable value in that land fertility is what supports like the investment. Versus like hypothetically, I buy 80 acres of recently cut ground in Holmes County, Ohio, at $10,000 an acre. It's like there's not really any timber value yet. There's no tillable ground here. I bought it purely because of deer hunting. That is the only thing holding it up. And that's tough. That's a tough investment to make.
Yeah.
Would I spend $800,000 on a 40 if it was the right 40? And people think that's insane, but if it's like the right 40, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. And those are getting fewer and fewer even to exist. Like if I could find 40 acres, you won't for this price, for $800,000 right outside of Columbus, Ohio, and it was the right 40, yeah, dude. I mean, you would kill giants every year probably. Would that ever be worth more than that for development or something, but not for hunting? Like you would have to find somebody with the same mindset you have to pay that type of money. And they exist. There's guys that with unlimited money that would just be like, yeah, no brainer. I'll pay that. And that's what's continuing to bring this figure up. That's why they're paying $10,000 to $15,000 in some of these Ohio counties for like hunting land. It's crazy because there are people willing to do it.
Yeah. The Ohio thing's interesting just because it's like our roots are so deep there in like where that exact farm is. So it's just like, I've never been a really sentimental person, which I think works to my benefit in some ways because it's like,
you're not attached.
I'm just not attached to things or even properties. I love them. I enjoy them while we're there. Like I like our farm in Illinois a lot and our Ohio farm. I'll do, I'll almost stupidly in some cases just pour myself into them because it's like, even if I know we won't get the investment, because I love to do it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So, but yeah, at a certain point, I'm not stupid either, so it's like you want to, if you can relocate or, reposition that so that opportunity, so
you've seen what your farm has been able, I mean, how long does it take? Like you've had that farm for basically 10 years.
Yeah.
You've seen what you can produce and really where even the trend is going in 10 years. And it's like, it's not really going to get you to where you wanted to. Frankly, it's not going to get you. And this is where the attachment thing is tough, is to like take your parents' house out of it. If you took the exact money you have in that farm and you put it somewhere else in Ohio, you could be killing giants every year.
Well, and yes. So, but like you can't take all the, and I don't mean to talk about them this way, but like, baggage is not the right term, but like there's a lot of dynamics with the group that is hunting the farm. So yeah, you could sell this farm for a lot of money and put it to another farm that would produce, but could you take everybody and the way that we're doing it now and do the same thing? No, I think it's gonna.
Well, no, dude, I would buy whatever 4 200s instead. That's how I would do it.
Well, right, but you couldn't take everybody with you.
You still could on 4 200s.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so.
I think so. I mean, dude, I could hunt. I mean, given this year was off, like on a.
It's not even about like, okay, how many deer does that mean get killed? It's like, what does the pressure look like on that?
Yeah, but dude, 5 people on 4 200-acre parcels. That's nothing.
4 200-acre parcels.
That's what I'm saying. I would buy 4 individual 200s instead of 1 800 to 1,000.
It's not nothing, dude.
I know it's not nothing, but I think that
that pressure extrapolates quickly when you factor in the neighbors and stuff.
Well, just think of like 1 guy on these ones and 2 guys on these ones. Like I think it's really doable.
Yeah. The other thing about our farm now is like it is really challenging to hunt. It's predominantly a west access farm.
Yeah, which sucks.
And so that cuts, or you essentially say it multiplies the pressure by 2.
See, there's so few good farms though. Like I've looked at them on the map. Like as we have these conversations, I'm always like, okay, this is where I want to buy. I'm not even looking at what's for sale. I'm like looking what exists in a parcel standpoint. And like there'll be 4 that I end up marking in a 15 square mile area that I'm like, these are 4 really good farms from access, the way they look. I don't know anything about the neighborhood. I don't know anything about what's on the property. purely from like an aerial what it looks like. And that's what guys it's not like you shouldn't just jump into like the first farm you get, but it's like rarely are you going to find a farm that checks all the boxes. It's either going to have neighbor issues, it's going to have access issues, it's going to have topography or layout issues, you know. And we'll save this for a different day because there's been a lot of people here
talking about the farms. Yeah,
that have like, hey, I just really want you guys to dive into the farms of how you're buying them, what you're looking for, what your thoughts are. And this is the first year that I'm going into it. Not that I'm going to sell anything necessarily yet, but I'm at the point where I'm like, I would upgrade my Ohio farm. And I say upgrade lightly in that it's 3.5 hours away.
I think that's a smart move for you. I would be looking at selling your Ohio farm
it's
too.
It's 3.5 hours away. I just, I hunted it 2 sits all year. I just don't get to it as much. We talked about like how I'm just spread out. Kentucky's my second home, so I'm not going to sell anything there.
Yep.
You know, Ohio's better deer hunting than that. I'm just not going to sell. So I either, the thought process, and we'll talk about it in detail, is like, do I sell the Ohio farm and buy something in Ohio closer, or do I sell the Ohio farm and put it in my backyard here? Mm-hmm. Do I buy a farm within 20 minutes of here that's like, it's the home farm? I essentially walk out my door and like drive 15 minutes or whatever, and there's the farm.
Yeah, I think especially as your kids get a little older, that'll be something that is really would be good to have for them. Like like when Carter gets a driver's license,
mm-hmm.
you know, something that well, it depends how in your back farm your backyard
I would say within 30 minutes of here.
Yeah, you know, something that he can scoot over to after work, or like, you know, what.
Well, dude, what's crazy is like, you know, minus our Illinois farm, this freaking 28 acres on the mountain was the best farm I had this year. Mm-hmm. From not just like just from a deer hunting dynamic with my family. Mm-hmm. Like to be able to take the kids and like see deer. I mean, Carter and Harlan bow shot bucks here this year, right? I had a.
Would you consider moving? Like, is your school district
in a heartbeat? But my school district is really tough.
It's really small.
There's just not like properties available because a lot of it is like suburban. So there's very little rural community available.
What grades are your kids in?
4th and 8th.
8th. And high school starts next year for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not moving out of the district. That's the problem. You know, so it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Unless Jeremiah wants to sell me part of the summit.
Would you go there? That's not what you want, though.
I'd buy Scott's. I'd buy Scott's place.
You would,
but I think it's in Uniontown.
See, it's interesting, even here, you and I are looking for different things. Like
you said immediately, you're like, yeah, there's some good stuff in Washington County. And that, you know, some of that, like I can be in Washington, I can be in Brownsville in 20 minutes. Like that's still in the realm.
Mm-hmm.
Even the farm that we're about to list, he's got a really big buck on it.
Does he?
Yeah, and a really high deer because it was a Christmas tree farm.
Mm. Well, see, like, but even the stuff you're talking about, like on the mountain stuff, like it's mountain properties. I'm like, I don't want to touch that.
I love that.
I know you do. I would be looking for like
you want a farm,
a brush farm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something adjacent to large old strip.
Yep. And I get that. Yeah. And I'm okay. Like just not necessarily like I would love to be able to have more open ground than I have up here, but I love where I'm at because the reason we have such good deer hunting is there's just vast mountain all around us, and they eventually they come down, they circle, they do their rut loops down in here.
Frankly, that 80 we bought in Illinois is like,
it's great.
Granted, it's only an 80, and you know,
it's awesome.
The tail ones, but like the fact that we have that timber ridge
has a chance to be better than our original farm.
I know it does. Yeah, it's just like it has all the qualities.
Yep.
And after this past year, I would say has the deer too.
Crazy. I mean, for sure, more shooters on that farm than our original farm. Not like in a consistent format, but just in the appearances.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, they exist out there on that side, but yeah. So we'll save that for a deeper discussion, maybe in January or something, as we get out of the hunting season to really dive into the farm thought process and what that looks like. But I'll say that, like, you know, just from my mindset, where I'm at is like, I'm spread too thin. And I need to hone back in. And I'm okay having in Illinois that's 9.5 hours away because I know I'm going to dedicate, you know, 1 or 2 trips to it. that's fine. Like that's great to have out there. It's where you're going to spend the 75% of your hunting time close to home. What's that look like?
Mm-hmm.
And mine's different now than it will be in 10 years. Cause like right now it's very kid oriented. In 10 years, it might be very me oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I have to adjust for in the interim and figure it out. HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Primos.
Dude, double bull blinds, the original doe can, and who could forget the iconic Magnum buck roar?
I mean, that in a nutshell is Primos for whitetail deer hunters. I mean, that buck roar is by far the best grunt call that's ever been made. I lost it in a CRP field in Kansas, somehow found it, and for the last 10 years, I've been notching every buck that I've called in with that call, and I can tell you there's a lot of marks on it.
There's been a lot of them over the years, man. I can recall. So my dad actually shot that 160-inch 8-point in Ohio a couple years ago. It was double bull blind. I just set that up a few days before, and we've had a lot of success out of those over the years. And so right now, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for a discount off anything on the Primos website. That's primos.com.
Speak the language.
Good discussion.
Just 2 hours. That's good. That's good. Yeah, we got some good ones coming up here, podcast wise, and so we're gonna shoot some more here and keep rolling doubles. I think we said through the end of this month, early January or something, we're gonna end up setting back this. Yeah, and then soon after, Farm Companions will come back in, and that'll tie back into a lot of what we're talking about here. But
slept into the thought process today a little bit.
It did. It's just that time of year that I'm not done yet, but I'm like, I'm not fucking leaving.
I tell you what, I'm excited for shed hunting this year.
Yeah,
really
cool.
Excited. I really think we
need more people.
We need some help.
Yeah, I almost feel like we got to burn some of those fields off.
We can. I'm open to that. I think we have the tools and stuff to do it. I don't know if it is going to do a whole lot.
I don't know.
Truthfully, I think it's kind of like an over prescribed, no pun intended, thing. I think the chemical really can accomplish a lot of what you want.
I'm all for that. I don't have any problem with that. Yeah.
You won't find the sheds like you might, but I don't know how many sheds are actually
funny.
dropping
I'm already like just because of like what I'm seeing in like Ohio and Madison. It'll be cool. I'd like to get Madison in, and maybe we'll do like a big recap of like the 3 thermal flies that we do. I don't mind sharing just all that info with people, but like I know where I'm lacking in cover and habitat. Like you really see it right now. Mm-hmm. Like where you're like, man, there should be deer using this cut cornfield. Like, why aren't they not? It's like, where the hell are they going to lay? There's no cover. There's no reason for them to be there.
Here's one for you. I got a good portion of our Ohio farm enrolled in EQIP for this upcoming season. Mm-hmm. So that starts with a 2 or 3 year process of invasive management in your timber, followed by some pretty aggressive either selective harvest, or clear cuts here.
What's
and there
that?
stuff, so.
Is that like you doing it, or
it's funding? They pay. So they
pay.
So they pay you. You can either pocket the money and do it yourself, or you can use it to hire services.
Yeah, I have a plan that was written for my newer Kentucky farm. I just haven't made any moves on it, which is my fault. But
I do think, despite all of the, if you want to call it mismanagement, around us, I think that if I think we could significantly improve the quality of our hunting by just doing a better job of managing our timber.
I really think it's that, and just taking notes from Illinois, and it's hard, but working, even if it costs money, stuff with neighbors for the right access.
Dude.
I'm looking at that on my farms right now, because even though my farms are primarily east access, unintended, like I didn't buy them because of that, but that's what they are. There's still certain back end places, since I've added on to some of this stuff, that I'm like, I can't access that without like going the whole way through this. Yep. But there are points that I can get in from other roads. Yep. So it's like I'm going to work a lot in the off season to be like, hey man,
that's a big deal.
What's $5,000 for a lane here? Like whatever it takes to be able to have that access is going to be critical.
That's the fine line that we're talking about.
Yeah, and that almost even before, not in lieu of habitat management and other stuff, but like if they're there and you just can't do much with it because of the access, like get the access before you spend money on the other stuff.
Yeah.
Get in there. It's going to make your job easier if you do have to do habitat work, to be like, hey, we can take this little road into this stuff, versus like we got to go the whole way through my property before you can get back there and do any work. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make any sense. Yep. So
we need to, very last thing, we'll sign up here. We need to, I think you and I should do it ourselves. We need to book a piece of equipment for Illinois this year.
Okay.
Just like a day, rent a Bobcat.
Skid steer? Yeah.
Skid steer for water holes.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing that I'm on to.
I have just the one in mind, but let's plan a day for that.
Before I leave, and we're going to have this couple times, but I'll mention it now if you're still listening. ATA show, which is really the public side, 9th and 10th of January, Archery and Bow Hunting Super Show in Indianapolis. We'll be there hanging out. A bunch of our sponsors, Lone Wolf and Cody, are going to be there. Rising's going to be there. I think we're going to do some sort of panel. Like
Predator coming to that?
Predator's going to be there.
Cool.
I'm trying to put together like a panel of like us, Rising, DeQuisto, maybe the working class guys, of just like an open forum panel to have during the show. But so that's 9th and 10th. There are like VIP packages where you can get like your hotel and parking and everything, or like they're pretty cheap, just like standard day pass tickets there too. But it's gonna be cool. We've been doing a lot of the marketing for it, like our Stone Road team. Floor's booked. Like all the vendors are booked.
Whoa.
Floor is packed, which is exciting because it hasn't
for
been.
Both. That's for ATA and the Super Show.
Yep. So like even
they're in the same place, right?
Yep, same place. Okay. Even though like they're not our.
So how does that work? It's open to the public first?
No, second. So 7th and 8th is ATA normal trade show.
Okay. Industry only.
Yep. And then 9th and 10th floors open to the public at that point.
Cool.
There'll be a big open shoot as well. Like there's a hunter division for like a indoor bow shoot and stuff too.
Okay.
So that's going on as well. And then then all the vendors, like we're not partners with them, but guys like Kuyu's got a big booth there. I think that. Who else is going to be there? Like, Bear and Bowtech and Morel and all. Like, I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be as big as it used to be back in the day, but all I know is whatever booth space we had, we filled.
That's cool.
So it's going to be a packed floor. Like I said, I want to do some sort of open panel with us and those guys there. We're going to bounce around. Roger and Antler Creek are going to be there. So we're going to bounce booths around and stuff. But it should be cool 2 days. We haven't done anything yet on either Friday or Saturday night, which is like there's nothing for the public yet. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll do like a late announcement where we're going to be like, hey, we'll just like go and hang out at one of the bars or something. And if you guys want to just come and hang out with us and drink beer at the bars, like we're there.
Cool.
That's
what we'll be doing anyway.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So like
go bum a growler off Huntsucker.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Hey. So, but anyways, I just wanted to say that because I know there's a lot of people have been asking about it.
Coming up.
The biggest thing is like the floor is booked. So like, I didn't know what the show was going to look like because in the past few years.
Who do you recommend for that? It's like people drive in. It's in Indy, right?
Yep, it's in Indy.
Drive into Indy on Friday.
I would say drive in on Thursday. Be there Thursday night, Friday morning, doors open. Or you could drive in Friday morning, whatever. Be there Friday, stay over Friday night, and then Saturday be there and then bail.
Cool.
Or stay Saturday night if you're drinking and leave Sunday morning, whatever.
That's the thing that will be, I think, fun for people. The industry has been doing for a long time. It's like ATA is about the after part. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's out at the bars and stuff around. Yeah. It'd be fun for just the public. I can imagine it'd be quite an influx of people there to get to experience that. So
and they're selling. Like they're going to be doing like a lot of the discounts that like the dealers and stuff get the first 2 days. Like the public's going to get the second 2 days. So you've got like they're gonna have inventory and stuff, or like I don't know how much DeQuisto's doing there, or he'll ship it to you,
Yeah.
So
disclaimer: we will not have Hunter merch there more than likely. You can buy that at our website, wearehunter.com.
Yeah, we're not flying Nick up to have a booth or anything, but anyways, I just want to make sure because it's coming up and it'll be a cool event. We look forward to that every year just because it's good to see people, and I do feel like this year there's at least some life in the floor and that like. It's booked. So like the floor is what the floor is. And so that'll be exciting for a few days there in Indy.
Awesome.
So other than that, we appreciate everyone listening to episode 292 with Jared and I, and we will catch you next time.
Later.
Take me